Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm It's Robbie Rhino, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at all three of the new Halloween tanks for 2022 inside World of Tanks console. Up first in the gameplay in the background you can see the Arachnid, then we're going to have a look at the Asterion, and then we're going to have a look at the Death Chariot, all in their awakened forms in the Monster Mash game mode to see what kind of fun we can get up to. So for those of you that don't know about the Monster Mash game mode, it's basically the Halloween game mode that we have every year. Usually new tanks are added to it. This time two of the tanks are basically reskins of tanks. They can't sell anymore from the Hot Wheels collaboration. That's the AE Phase 1. It was the Fangula, now it's the Arachnid you can see in the background, and the Asterion was the, if I can remember what the blooming hell it was called the Dead Dozer. That's the one, the green M48 Raumpanzer. But first you can see we're looking at the Arachnid. We're going to have a quick look at the price of the bundle and the price of all of the tanks separately, then we'll get talking about the cool gameplay in the background, having a lot of fun, and it's a nice way to make some nice Commander XP progress. So if you want all three of the tanks in a bundle, 23,600 gold. Bear in mind that the Arachnid, which you're seeing in the gameplay in the background, is a tier 9 tank as we jump over a tank. Pretty cool. So I guess you have to factor that in when we're thinking of the prices. But if you look at the base bundle prices of all of these tanks, the Arachnid by itself is 15,200 gold, so a hell of a lot of money to pay for a premium tank inside World of Tanks console, especially one that looks so hideous. I mean, I guess it fits for the Halloween mode, but seeing these things in the random queue is just weird. The gun itself is actually quite good, and in my opinion anyway, I've been having quite a lot of fun with it, but I just think it looks so weird I feel really embarrassed to play it. But I'll have a full review of the normal, well, I say normal functioning Arachnid in the random queue at some point next week. If you want the Asterion, which is the M48 Raumpanzer on its own, it's 7,100 gold, and the Death Chariot, which is my favourite, and I've done a review of that this week, so check that out on my channel and I'll link that above for you now. It's 9,200 gold, so all different prices. The Arachnid is a tier 9, which you can kind of understand. However, it's still a lot of money, and as the kind of reskins, the Asterion and the Arachnid, yeah, not sure whether I'll be willing to pay my money for those tanks. But we're going to have a look at the Arachnid, as you've seen the first game in the background there, where we picked up 5.4k damage jumping on some enemy tanks. The Arachnid's awakened mode is you can press the handbrake button, you jump in the air, you can squash your opponents, and yeah, you can see it's quite a lot of fun once you manage to time your jumps correctly, like we have now. Unfortunately we are toppling on our side, but it's just a lot of fun. You don't take any damage whilst you are crushing your opponents, and they take quite a bit of damage. It's just trying to time the jumps correctly. And yeah, that's about it. Your normal ammunition is Fearsome Fangs, which is your AP rounds that do 350 damage with 208mm of penetration, and then you have your Vicious Venom, which is your 515 damage, 60mm penetration HE rounds. And yeah, that's it for the Arachnid. I run mobility equipment on this. I think I run an advanced powertrain and some octane to make me go a bit quicker and see if I can jump on some things to make it a lot of fun. You don't have a very good damage per minute with this thing, but who really cares? It's a game mode for having fun and just jumping on your opponents, making some good Commander XP. And yeah, so in the second game here we are on Dead City, I think it is called now, the Himmelsdorf transformed into the scary map. We're coming up towards the end of this battle. I skipped forward because the start of it was just me getting into position, and this Bellerophon, which is has an ability to push you away, and I believe also pull you in as well, but he kept trying to push me away, and I'm just going for a jump here on this Goronich, and I really want to go for a jump, and he keeps pushing me away, which is kind of annoying, but we eventually get there, and we're going to help out our friendly kaiju here. We go in for a little bit of ramming damage, put another shot in, do another little hop, and yeah, do some nice crushing damage. And it is kind of fun to do this. You can do that in the Fangulate if you have it already, if you did that with the Hot Wheels collaboration they had, but I'm not sure they'd ever be able to sell that again, but yeah, who knows. So now we're going to go after this Bellerophon. He's still pushing us away. He really is afraid of spiders, but we're going to be quite insistent that we want to jump on you, and hopefully we'll manage to finish it off with a nice sliding jump there with an epic victory. That's a nice way to finish the battle in the Arachnid there, where we pick up 6k damage, 1439 assistance, we block some, we finish top of our team and make some nice Commander XP. So now you're going to be seeing another little clip in the Arachnid. This is the last little clip of the Arachnid. This whole game is pretty stout up until this point, where we managed to absolutely crush a Lycan there, I believe from full health as he was battling our friendly teammate, so that was pretty cool. We managed to completely crush him, and this kind of ability does sort of transform a bad game in the Monster Mash game mode into a pretty hilarious one. I guess I would recommend taking the Octane like I have. I run the premium consumables, which means that you will lose some silver, but I can kind of afford it at the moment. I don't play this mode all too often, apart from to try out the new tanks, and yeah, if I have a couple of skills left on a commander, it can be pretty fun. And now you're going to see me getting torched to bits. That's the way I deal with spiders when I'm at home, because I absolutely hate them, so playing this was actually a bit weird. I used to have a massive phobia of spiders, but yeah, not so much anymore. We keep getting set on fire by the Goronich, so we're going to bear that in mind and see if we can get some payback later on in the battle. I get kind of frustrated in these kind of games. I just want to go in and do it, and when people play properly, it kind of frustrates me in the Monster Mash game mode anyway, or any kind of game mode. I just do it to have fun. I wish there was more silver awards in the Monster Mash game mode, but yeah, it's basically just for training crew. Put two words together there. So we managed to do a little bit of damage there on the Goronich there, jump in. Now we're jumping out of the way of the fire, and it looks like our time is up in this battle, but we've turned a pretty bad start to that game by just crushing a whole Lycan, crushing a bit of the Goronich. Then we took down a good chunk of his health, skipped forward to the end of that battle, and that was a defeat there, but we still had a relatively good impact there with 4.4k damage. And next up is the Asterion, which is a tier 8 German medium tank. It was the whatever I called it, Dread Dozer. That's the one with the shovel on the front of it, or whatever you want to call it, big bucket. You are able to basically ram them, send the opponents flying. I'll put up the information that Wargaming says about these tanks as we're going through this video, so hopefully you've already seen the little bit on the Arachnid, and I've just put up the one on the Asterion. So it's the same as the Dread Dozer. When you have the flames on the background and your sort of jet engine there on the background, you just go into your opponent and you'll send them flying, and if you send them flying over a ridgeline or a big drop, they will take collision damage, and you can completely one-shot someone if you manage to launch them high enough. And if you find a cliff like here on what is Prokhorovka, or Grim Graveyard, or whatever they want to call it now, if you go onto the hill, you can push them off of it, and I've seen one person do it in a gameplay and it was hilarious, but I didn't catch it. I haven't managed to do it myself. But in terms of the other ammunition, in terms of this tank then, the Asterion has standard AP rounds which have 205mm penetration, 240 damage. They're called the Minotaur's Horns, and the Minotaur's Bite is the HE with 45mm of penetration for 320 damage. And yeah, you've got that ramming capability as well, which can be fun. I run the mobility equipment on the Asterion just to help me get some speed up while I'm doing those rams. I also run premium medkit and the enhanced fuel as well to make me go a little bit faster passively and also actively as well, and it helps your turret rotation speed as well, I believe, and 5% to your max speed. Yeah, that is correct. So you've seen us having some pretty fun rams here in the Asterion. You've just got to be able to time your rams correctly. If you're going to be using the mobility equipment, I'd highly recommend using the traction system because it helps your traverse speed out. It can get a bit costly if you want to play equipment on these tanks, but it can also be pretty hilarious as well. So we flip another tank there, help our Lycan take that tank out there, and yeah, it's looking good for this battle, and we managed to do a good amount of damage in a short space of time. So for crew grinding, this mode is pretty good. Have a good few hours on it and you should get some pretty good crew skills. We skipped forward to the end of that battle because it took ages to find the last tank, but we managed to pick up 2.8k damage, block a little bit, and a little bit of assistance with some nice crew training, and we're back on Grim Graveyard here. We're going to boost up with the fuel, go over the ridge and see if we can get some nice rams in. I don't want to throw my whole tank away right at the start. I want to see if I can last a little bit longer than I have been. It took me quite a while to get a few games because I get a bit over impatient and excited trying to ram things. When you have free reign, it doesn't affect your stats and win rate and all that kind of stuff. It can be fun just going in and completely obliterating an enemy. But I think I give up in a minute. When we're fighting this kaiju, I'm just going to go in straight for a ram and see if we can absolutely flip him out. I've been having a bit of lag in these in the game modes, especially the one on the Himmelsdorf, the spooky Himmelsdorf. Nice bit of speed there on the kaiju there, completely flipping him. Unfortunately, we flip him right over. He doesn't take much damage at all. But we're going to see some other pretty good rams in this video, so don't worry, we're just going to have to be using our rounds until we recharge our boost, and then we're going to go straight back in, see if we can flip him. He's got quite a few hit points left, and we're going to see if we can flip him over. A nice big running, and he takes some full damage, and that's a nice big boost to our damage numbers there in the Asterion. This is quite fun as well. I'd say the most powerful out of the three is the one coming up next to Death Chariot. The Fangula and the Asterion are both pretty fun to play. They're the more fun ones in my opinion, but the Death Chariot's probably, if you want to have the best kind of games, that's your better chance in my opinion out of the three new tanks. I won't do all of the other tanks because they've been around for a while, but I might do some in the normal game mode as well. So we've seen this Revenant hiding there at the back, flip him as well. Oh, and he managed to take some nice ramming damage as well, and that was very fun indeed. And yeah, it's kind of fun, a good little bit of crew training, can't really argue against it. So you boost your damage numbers pretty damn quickly when you're doing it in this mode, and you can see you can get some good speed up. This thing in the normal game mode is pretty damn slow, but when you use the fuel in this game mode, yeah, it's pretty quick. So that's 5.3k damage in that game, in the Asterion. Yeah, pretty good stuff. And now we're in the third and final tank. It's the Death Chariot, and I play a little bit more sensibly in this one. This was one of my first games in the Monster Mash game mode in 2022. So the Death Chariot, which is my favourite of the three in the normal game mode, is a tier 8 Chinese heavy tank, and its awakened form is ATGM's skull-seeking missiles, and they are pretty nasty indeed. So the Death Chariot, I think, is the best looking skin. I think it's the best looking skin in the Awakened and in the normal game mode. I run mobility equipment to help me get my speed up, the advanced powertrain, combat rations to help my DPM. The normal gun on the Death Chariot is an AP piercing scythe, which is 175mm of penetration for 420 damage, and an explosive scythe, which is HE 61mm of penetration and 550 damage. But you also have your skull seeking ATGMs. You have, I believe, 10 homing death skulls, which have 500mm of penetration for 700 alpha damage, and then you have your guided death skulls, which have 400mm of penetration for 300 damage, but they come in a 4-shot autoloader, which I don't quite capture in this clip, but they're both very, very fun to use, and they can deal a heck of a lot of damage. And with the armor on this tank, I believe it's the most powerful out of the three new tanks, and one of probably the most powerful tanks in the Monster Mash game mode, and I think it looks pretty cool. I kind of wish you had this skin in the regular game mode, although obviously it wouldn't fit, but it's not quite as hideous as the Arachnid, and I think it's a very good choice and a good pickup if this is the one that you want to go for. A nice big skull there as you fire it into the back for a lot of damage. And these revenants are a pain because obviously you can't notice them unless they're moving, and they fire, their eyes light up and glow red. Apart from that, it can be very tricky to find out where they are. You're spotted, but you don't know which one, and they're dotted all around the map. But we managed to set him on fire there, firing into the background, waiting for another skull-seeking missile to reload. And we're going to fire it in, but that was a bit unnecessary for the 50 damage. They're quite fun though, these missiles, and it is the multiple weapon system, so you hold down the ammo change button like you would with the ATGMs in the Cold War game mode to switch between them. And yeah, it can be pretty fun indeed. So I think it's a 32.4 second reload for the skull-seeking missiles, or at least it is with the commander that I am running. And it's a long time to wait, but your gun is more than capable to keep you in the game. You can see that it has got a very slow shell velocity on the standard ammunition. I think it's 400 meters a second on the piercing scythe and on the explosive scythe as well, where if you're guiding the skull ATGMs, it's 45 meters a second for the homing one, which is the single fire one, and for the auto-loading one it is 330 meters a second, so a little bit easier to guide. But I've taken this position up here on the hill, on the Dead City, I believe. I keep forgetting what it's called, but it sounds about right, doesn't it? Dead City. And we're getting shells down on our opponents, and if you play it carefully, especially ones with good armour like the Death Chariot, with 3,000 hit points, you should be able to last the battle, and you can see how much damage those skull-seeking missiles do there. I think at this point in time, this is one of my first games, or the first game in the Death Chariot. I didn't realise that if I switched to the other ATGMs, they had a 4-shot auto-loading ATGM, but you know, the more you know, and hopefully now you will know, you can make use of that. So it's coming towards the end of this replay. Unfortunately, we bounced for a pretty bad penetration. We fired ATGM just to make it a little bit spooky at the end, and that's it for that game and today's video. Just a little fun one for you all. We pick up 2 kills in that game with, I believe, 5.5k damage, blocking 800, and making nearly 12,000 Commander XP. So that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield, and bye for now.